Hi everyone, welcome back to Kilimo Faida TV. I'm your host as usual, Bikiman. So today we are going to look at how we can be able to adapt. Remember, with climate change, we've seen invasion of different pests, crop fail, and a need to shift from the conventional ways of farming to go to at least natural ways of farming, to adapting to technology. Again, we also have to try and see how we can incorporate the mostly affected parts of agriculture to at least include them in a sustainable ecosystem. That's why I want to highlight some of the things that farmers are doing. And you can see, for example, we've seen with so many forests disappearing as a result of human activities, some of the birds have become endangered. What you would go and see in the forest is no longer there, because once the habitat has been affected, you won't see these birds anymore. And you can see in like this case, this is a farm where they have domesticated different forms of or different types of wild birds. You can see them. Tausi. Now we have the specific names that will be displaying on the screen, but you can see, like in this case scenario, this is a forest brought at home, because the forest that we would go to, maybe we would call serene environment, we'll go to maybe relax, they are already triggered to change the sequence. They are no longer there, and then we have now to adapt to have sanctuaries where now even people who are interested to go and see bird watching, they have to come at home and see this. Another thing is the fish. Fish is among the animal that has been affected, because once we have adapted, due to climate change, we've been forced to use agrochemicals we never used before. And once the residues are drained in the rivers, you see most of the fish, or like the aqua life, is affected. So it has led to an emerging trend of fish farming. By the way, most of you never knew how it all began. It began that way because what we would get in the lakes is no longer there. So unless we sustain it with artificial technologies, it's not possible. That's why you see, even constructing maybe a dam that is fed by lanes, it's not possible because of the erratic nature of our rainfall patterns. That's why we have to adopt such fish ponds, as you can see. And you can see they are made up of wood, paper, and we have to go this way, because even the land is not there. Maybe we're in the urban areas, and we have to meet the demand of fish or the white meat. So if like you're there and you're wondering how you can get this, contact Agriventure, Faida Agriventure Limited. We are going to construct this for you. But remember, this was not the initial home of the aqualife, like the fish, but we have to go this way because of climate change, and it's one form of adaptation. Another thing that has been affected is how the animals lived. In some years back, you'd get goats in an open field because space was there. The climate was there, the climate was suitable to support them. But now we have to be innovative. Lease such houses where at least the goats are they are secure from the erratic rainfall, or maybe because at times the rainfalls are too high such that such goats will not withstand. So this is one of the ways we have to adapt. If you're there and wondering how do you manage this climate, like maybe your area has become too cold, this is the way to go. I initially talked about invasion of different fierce insects. At the same time, our soils have been degraded because of, say, high rainfall that erodes the soil, because we have cut down trees, and therefore the nutrients are not available in the soil. So that's why we have this emerging trend of rabbit farming, because rabbit will give us the urine. This urine is high in nitrogen and other macro and micronutrients, and this will be used to supplement the nutrients that are not available in the soil. So that's why it's becoming very popular. And by the way, for rabbits, with the Ulin, you have 3 in 1. You have an insecticide, you have a foliar fertilizer, and what else? and Ulin. Okay, so you are sorted. So this is one of the emerging trends as a way of climate change adaptation. And again, because the supply of lead meat is not sufficient, at times it's also not recommended. Rabbits now stand out as one of the source of white meats for proteins. Finally, have you seen this? These are called multi-story gardens, or like we call it the gardening aspect. It takes different forms, and good to note that this is purely organic. So what do you do with such a section as a means of climate change adaptation? What you do is that we now have to create environments where we can support the life of these crops. These among them is by coming up with multi-story gardens. We have some moisture gardens where you are digging, and then you can lay, say, something that will prevent evaporation, will retain that water. Again, when you have such a garden, at least you can use the ordinary, like the natural ways of controlling pests. This is to minimize the residues, or like to ensure healthy and clean food, because as a result of climate change, we've been forced to use agrochemicals that later harm our bodies. Again, you will realize that there are crops that we used to, remember, a human being is a hunter and gatherer, so we used to get these crops in the wild, and currently they are not there. So what do? We have to start such gardens so that at least we can make available what was not available, or like which has disappeared from our system. So that's why starting such gardens is very important. Remember, this also very adaptive for people in the urban centers. Other than consuming toxic, I would call it toxic foods, what do? Start such a